The following program is a public access production. Comcast is required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
This is Sandra Jewell of Pastor J Live. We are starting a new segment entitled Ask the Therapist. Ask a Therapist segment will give you basic information about counseling or therapy. And it's the same thing, just to use different words for the same thing. What is counseling? A lot of people want to know. Counseling is simply sitting down, talking to someone who has your best interest in mind and who's been trained to help you move from point A to point B. Who goes to counseling? Do this for me. Take a deep breath, hold it, let it out. I want you to know anyone who breathes goes to counseling. Every age group, every culture, every race, people with all type of beliefs come to counseling. Why do you go to counseling? That's the reason you go to counseling. Like I said in the beginning, it is to listen to some directions and set some goals with a person who has your best interest and who's trained in helping you to get the best out of life, help you to be the best that you can be. Now, this segment is for awareness purposes only. It is not intended as a diagnosis for a mental, emotional, spiritual issue. It is simply for awareness purposes, so that you will be learned about what counseling entails. Now, you may wonder, how long is counseling? How long do I have to go? When do I have to go? The first thing you do when you decide that you want to talk to someone about an issue in your life is to meet that person to see if your personality and theirs mesh. And generally that's called a free consultation. Once you decide that, yep, this is the person that I want to come talk to periodically, you sign what's called an informed consent. The informed consent has in there generally the days you will come, the time you will come, the cost, how you will pay, information about what happens if there are emergencies, information regarding the type of therapy or counseling that will be done. You agree to your involvement in the process. You agree on the number of sessions. You agree on everything that's going to impact that counseling session. Today on Ask the Therapist, we're going to talk about mood disorders. Mood disorders are things or issues or disturbances that change your mood. All of us have moods. Sometimes we're up when something is making us happy. Sometimes we're down when something is making us not as happy. When we get a promotion, a good grade, meet Mr. or Ms. Right, we have an uplifted mood. When our mood is down, generally it's because something has happened. We didn't get a good grade. We didn't get that promotion. We didn't meet, or we were rejected by that Mr. or Ms. Right as we thought it was. So those are normal reactions to mood. When mood swings are abnormal, they fall into three categories. One is the depressed state. One is the bipolar state. And the other one is a cyclothymic state. Now, when a person is depressed, in the depressed state, they have to have been in that condition or had that disorder for at least 2 weeks for you to say that they are depressed. They don't want to do anything. They sleep all the time. They reject any of the pleasurable things that they used to do for at least 2 weeks. When that happens, it's time to seek some help for them. The bipolar state is when an individual, for no apparent reason, gets into a manic, happy, up, a depressive state, down, and they stay in that. They keep vacillating back and forth. That is a bipolar disorder. The cyclothymic is when it's very severe. That's when a person gets in the cycle of being up, down, excuse me, for no apparent reason. These are the mood disorders that we need to look out for when we are wondering if a person needs help, needs to seek help. In my practice, I see many people with this next group of disorders that's called, the anxiety disorder, or as we want to say, the worry disorder. There are several disorders that fall into this category. That's the panic attack, the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress syndrome. There's the OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. There's the social phobia. Anything that causes you stress falls into this category. However, there are guidelines for recognizing whether a person needs to seek some help when they're experiencing certain issues. For instance, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is getting a lot of coverage today in the media because it's being recognized in our returning veterans. However, women who have been abused, they can experience PTSD. Children of abuse, children who are neglected, anyone who's neglected can suffer from symptoms of PTSD. Panic attacks with or without a trigger or a disorder that need to be seen by someone in the professional mental health area. Because panic attacks, whether they have something in front of them that's causing that panic, or something in their thought processes is causing that panic, they need to be treated as if the issue is real, because it's real to the individual. The social phobia, that goes of agoraphobia, you don't want to go outside of your house. Other phobias, you don't want to talk to people. So therefore you begin to get very panicky and upset. These are anxiety phobias. There are several of them. OCD is when you're obsessive and compulsive, maybe by washing your hand, or you have to lock and unlock your door several times to be satisfied that it is locked. Then things that have been done in a ritual. These fall in the anxiety or the worry category. Thanks again for looking at, listening to Ask the Therapist. Greetings to you. This is Pastor J of Pastor Jewel Live. I'm so happy, of course, to be with you. If it was not a you, I would not have to have a me here doing this show each week. But I look so forward to it. And I want to tell you, as I always do, you are a unique, unrepeatable creation in the universe. So make the best of it. And I'm going to tell you something today that's completely opposite of what you've been told when you were growing up. I'm going to tell you something that is completely anti what parents teach their children. And I'm going to tell you it's time to start being selfish. What? Yes. Our parents, our loved ones, as we're growing up, tells us when we don't want to share our toys, stop being selfish. You know you're supposed to share. But today, my topic is be selfish. Start being selfish. It's time to be selfish. What do I mean by that? All of us have ideas that we've grown up with, have beliefs we've grown up with, have feelings, characteristics that were ingrained in us since childhood. Some of us have been told that we should discriminate against other people, races, genders, heights, sizes. If you see a person who is large, you're supposed to make fun of them. You see a person that's very skinny, you're supposed to criticize them. We have been taught that we are supposed to hold on to our stuff and try to put it on other people. We have been taught that we make people ashamed. We have been taught that we can make people upset. We've been taught it's okay to hate. Hate what? Anyone who hates us. But I want us today to work on getting rid of that stuff. Now, I know you're saying, but that's a part of me. Who I dislike or who I like, who I'm around, who I'm not around, that's a part of me. But I want to ask you a question before I go on. This discrimination that you've been holding on to, this jealousy that you've been displaying, this criticizing that you can constantly do, is it making you any happier? Put it another way, Pastor J. Okay, I sure will. Is this hatred, this gossiping, this backbiting, this being sassy to parents, causing you to feel good inside? I dare say that each one of you will say, no, it is not helping me to feel any better. It's not helping me to be any happier. In fact, and the more you keep that stuff, the more you use that mess, the more you discriminate, hate, criticize, talk about, backbite, sass people, the grumpier you will become. I have found out that if I have a sore on, let's say on my hand here, and that sore, I'm rubbing it, I'm picking at it, I'm peeling it, I keep messing with it. The more I bother that sore, the more I pick at that wound, the more I pull the scab off thinking it's going to heal it better because it's getting fresh air, the longer I'm going to have that sore. Same thing about how we treat people, what we think about people, what we say to people. It's the same thing. The longer we do that negativity, as long as we criticize, as long as we expect somebody else to live according to our rules, as long as we try to raise up grown folk, you know what I'm talking about. You got a husband or a wife that you are trying to tell how to live, what to do, who have a mind just like you do, just like I do. And when they get ready to change, they will change. No amount of nagging, criticizing, bullying, blustering will cause them to be any different. They'll just get upset with you because they want to hold on to their stuff. So the best thing for us to do is be selfish enough to, number one, take care of ourselves. 10 days to mind my own business, and 10 days to, you heard that song, 10 days to leave yours alone. That's a full-time job, managing my business. You have all the time you need to take corrective action on yourself, on myself, on the individual, and not try to correct someone else. I was talking to a minister recently, and he was telling me that it was my responsibility to let people know that it's only one way and you're going to go to hell if you do not go this way. But it was just so dogmatic. I may believe what he's believing, but he wanted me to try to believe that I had to say it the same way he said it. That's not my personality. I will joke with you to help you over your situation. I will be serious. Ask people who know me when it's time to be serious. But if another person is trying to tell you in order for you to be successful, you've got to do something the same way they did it, you need to get around someone else because that person does not have your best interest in mind. Be selfish. Leave them. Take care of yourself. Back away. Thank them, but go on and do things for yourself your way, what fits your personality. Get rid of that stuff that causes you to feel down, to feel frustrated, to feel irritated, that causes you not to rest at night, that causes you to just have a headache, causes you to just be critical, gossiping, backbiting. Get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? Every time you think about it, say, no, I'm not thinking about that. No, I'm not doing that. No, I've given that up. And pretty soon you won't have to say no. You'll think about it and then you start thinking that's another way to handle that situation, another way to think about that situation. It is so important, it is so valuable for us to be selfish. That is, take care of you. Take care of yourself. There's an expression, a little ditty that we developed in my child care center for the primary children who were ages 3 and 4, 2 and 3. They would stand in front of the mirror and say, I like myself. I like myself. Oh, I like myself. Be selfish enough to prove to you that you like yourself. You're not proving anything to me. You're proving it to yourself. You don't have to gossip. You don't have to backbite. You don't have to criticize. You don't have to try to make people do things your way. You don't have to be downing people. You do not have to discriminate. You do not have to hate. You do not. What you do need to do, and I don't say need to do many times, but I'm saying need to do this time, is take care of yourself. Why? Because it's more important to be an original of yourself than to be a copy of someone else. You know, I started to end the show just then, and then I just thought about, I have some more to say on that situation. You said, but if I give up being hostile, or criticizing, or gossiping, or backbiting, or putting other people down, then I don't know what to do with myself. That is me. That's my personality. That's just the way I am. Well, Try this. Try going a day being just you, using your personality, being who you are, how you are, the way you like to be, your critical at your critical, I don't even know what to call it, your critical self. And see how you feel after you do the criticism. And then the next day, try to go a whole day. Well, first you try to just do it 5 minutes without criticizing and see how you feel. Because as you're trying to not be critical, all of the things that you could be critical about will come up in your mind. All the things that you could discriminate about will come up into your mind. All the things that you could gossip about will come up into your mind when you're just trying to not criticize, discriminate, hate, show animosity for 5 minutes. They will come up in your mind when you're trying not to. That, you know what that shows you? You know what that shows you? That shows you, ladies and gentlemen, that is so deeply ingrained in you. Even when you're trying to do good, bad comes up because it's in you. It's not just you, it's me too. I have to work on me every day. I tell people that my husband is nicer by accident than I am on purpose, because that's the way my personality normally is. I'm such a strong personality that it comes over negatively. Because it's going to come over negatively, I used to just do things negatively. But I used to make myself sick. I didn't want to be around myself. If you don't want to be come to or attend your own party, why would somebody else want to be a part of that mess? They don't. They don't. And you wonder, well, why don't I have any friends? Why people don't invite me to different places? Why people don't do little nice things for me? When my birthday comes, why don't I don't get this flood of cards or calls or emails or even Facebook messages? That's because you're shushing, you're pushing, shushing people away. That's a word I'm trying to say. I can't remember what it is. But you are just shutting people out. Experiment with yourself. We experiment with everything else, with recipes, with exercises, with programs. We change things around. Let's just change around how we act for ourselves, towards ourselves, about mostly other people. And most of the time, it's something we don't even know about. I cannot know what's going on in your mind. Only you know what's going on in your mind. So how can I tell you what you're thinking? And I know I have said that a while in my relationship. I know just what you're thinking. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was just being just a holier than thou. I'm just telling you the truth. Everything that I tell you, I've told myself, stop being such a judgmental person. Start being selfish. That is, take care of number one. Sweep around your own front door before you sweep around mine. It is so easy to point fingers at others, but it's simpler to tend to your own business. Don't discriminate, don't hate. That's a poem out that says, everything I learned in kindergarten. I love that poem. He said we learn how, when we go across the street, to hold hands. We learn how to say please and thank you. We learn how to do all these wonderful things in kindergarten. And then in the middle of the day, we would lay down, take a nap, because we knew when we woke up, we'll have warm cookies and cold milk. Everything we learned in kindergarten, we can carry over to everyday adult life if we would. How to say please and thank you. How to, if someone is crying, to cry with them. Why, when someone is laughing, to laugh with them. Why, when someone is upset, to be upset with them. To walk along the same road with them. That's a saying that goes, how can two even walk together except they agree. If we have agreement that I want to go left and you going to go right, we will never make any progress. But if we say in the outset which way we are going, that first we're going to go your way to the left, and then we're going to go my way to the right, and we're walking together. Even if we're going the wrong way, we're walking together. We're of one mind. The story goes of an individual who was fast paced, who was always doing something to make life better, to be more successful. And then what they found out, it was they were working all the time on the wrong thing. The example that was given is that they were leaning up against the building. They were climbing up to the top of the building, but they had their ladder on the wrong building. Take time to evaluate where you're going, what you're saying, what you're thinking, how you're treating people, and then treat yourself better by taking corrective action if it is not a positive thing that you're doing. Now I'm going to end it by saying you are an original. It is better to be an original of yourself than a copy of somebody else. I'm going to sign out now and see you here the next time. Have a good evening. Sandra Jewell, Pastor J, signing off.